Should be a good one.
And as you're driving, saying, hey, make it run better.
You could have a posse of waifus.
Starting off kind of strangely.
Slaying the land.
Welcome to the show.
This is insanity.
Taking a critical look at the gaming news of the week.
This info is pretty shocking.
Somebody's got to give an answer to this.
This is Augmented Reality.
You are watching my favorite channel.
I've not heard of them.
The Triple S League. Enjoy, guys.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Augmented Reality Podcast, your source for news, leaks, and analysis of games in the gaming industry, coming at you live on YouTube and Twitch and archived almost anywhere you can find podcasts. This is the Triple S League here with you. My name is Ash, and I'm here as always with Psy, Obsidian, and Moontag. How are you guys doing tonight?
Hi. Hungry.
Hot and hungry.
It was a really rough day.
My team is in top-notch condition here, as you can tell. But anyway, yes.
No, it was a pretty brutal day today.
That's unfortunate.
The heat is back. The smoke is back. Everything is just it's really rough right now. And this comes on the tail of a long weekend that we did not take off. We worked long hours every single day, and we're not going to get a break until we don't get another day off until the 14th at the earliest. So it's going to be a long trek. So yeah, we've been trying to cram in all the gaming, all the good stuff. We have there's so much news and everything that it's been really tough to try and catalog everything. The Ascent is out this week. I'm literally installing it right now. Probably should have waited until after the podcast, but the Ascent is out. Yes, we're going to, for all the people who have been asking us nonstop all week to get in the game. Yes, we're trying to get in the game. It's just, it hit along with all of the other stuff at the same time. So the Ascent is out. It's getting ridiculously good reviews. It is getting is scoring very high in the Steam charts. So yeah, it's a game that we want to check out. It's the if everybody's saying the same thing. This is the action combat that everybody wanted, or not everybody wanted. This is the action combat that the cyberpunk genre needed, and it needed something that played very cyberpunky. And I feel when I'm playing, when I was playing, because I haven't touched it in months now, when I was playing Cyberpunk 2077, I didn't feel like I was playing a cyberpunk game. I thought I was playing, it felt like a version of COD, and I really hate saying that because the RPG elements were stripped out of the game. And yeah, so the Ascent is a team made by 4 people. I believe it's 4. Don't quote me on that because I'm going on very little sleep here. So I believe it's a team of 4 made this game, and it's doing really good. Definitely an absolute surprise out of left field, as far as most people were thinking, right?
Well, you had asked me, you asked me if I checked out this game, and I'd not even heard of it until just before the podcast here today. So
there's been a good 15,000 people playing this on the daily, so it's doing really good. Definitely has room to grow. It is an isometric character shooter in the realm of Gauntlet Legends. If you're looking for an exact genre type,
sure,
is basically Gauntlet Legends with cyberpunk stuff. A pretty decent story from what I've been told, and lots and lots of very cyberpunk things. So that's looking great.
I mean, it's very cyberpunk. Just checking it out. But so turn-based combat, or is it
Gauntlet Legends?
Oh, Gauntlet. Gauntlet Legend. Is that what you're talking? Sorry, I had to duck out there to turn off my AC.
So if people were wondering the genre, to nail down the genre, like what is the genre of the game, Gauntlet Legends is the best.
I see.
Within that, so it's a live action, running around on a map. Pretty much north, south, east, west movement. Big zones, little zones, small rooms, large rooms.
Also, they have a tram system.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You can actually catch
yeah.
a train.
Yeah, now obviously Gauntlet Legends is a very old game, but it's like the genre, right? Like it's not a turn-based, Jagged Alliance or that type of isometric game. This is a fast-paced isometric.
Yeah.
Almost feels like a bit of a roguelite at times kind of game that you just run around and and the weapons are crazy. Like Polly's he was going on and on and on about how amazing the weapons are. Now, why didn't we play this when it came out? Well, it's because New World was out in its beta, its final beta before release at the end of the month, and we wanted to get a good test in on that because that is time limited. That was time limited. That ended just a few hours ago. If you didn't get a chance to jump into it, well, you're gonna have to go off of what people give you for the review.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that a little bit today as well, in addition to all of the Blizzard news. But yeah, this is
then all of the Blizzard news. I was just finishing listening to the earnings call that happened again. Literally, what is it? It happened 2 hours ago. Two and a bit hours ago, I believe. Earnings call went out. Blizzard is not. Activision Blizzard is not in a good position right now. They are not. Now their COD, their other titles from their crack cocaine. Sorry, I mean gaming experience of their shooters is doing okay. It is continuing to do really well as far as most games go. But yeah, okay. So hold on.
Sorry, just getting Sab to turn off his fan there. He is trying to avoid dying, but the background noise is really, really bad, so we're just, unfortunately, at least for part of this, going to want to cut that out. Hopefully we had a big storm running through, so hopefully that cools off your house a little bit, but...
A little bit.
Yeah. So I've just got the Ascent stuff up on the screen right now. It does look very, very interesting, and I can see from this...
The environment is super detailed. I was watching Polly's and them playing over the weekend there for a bit.
Yeah.
And I really like the character designs. Like, look at all these NPCs and stuff.
Again, this totally flew over my head because, I just finished up a massive project for my other job that I do. And so my head was in that all weekend until, Sunday I basically crashed and didn't think about anything because that was finally done. But yeah, I'm not up on anything that's been going on this past couple of days here. But it looks really cool. And I can see from the video, by the way, anyone wondering, no, that was not my actual birth date that I punched in there. So, I'm not doxing myself on air. Because you have to put in your birth date to verify the age. Verify your age.
I feel sorry for people who are legitimately born on January 1st. Because it's always like, well, first of all, you get a birthday present and a Christmas present. It's the same present, and it's like it's not even more expensive than the normal ones that your brother gets in the middle of the year. No, my birthday is January. I just have a couple of siblings that have. So yeah, that's always kind of funny because the amount of people that are born on January 1st, 1900 that check into various websites is pretty astounding.
There's
a lot of 121-year-olds.
120-year-olds in the adult gaming phase adult gaming space, I should say. Okay, all right. I feel like we're off to a little bit of a rough start here today, but let's just keep on going. By the way,
the amazing fact that it can be 35 degrees, which in American speak is like 125. The fact that it can be that, whilst also the cloud, the air is just filled with a thick, dense smoke. Seriously, I considered, this weekend it was really busy. I went to the store. I bought a rack of pork. I slung it over my shoulder, and in 5 hours it was already smoked just by working outside. So yeah, it is. I don't get the weather like right now. It doesn't make it's
right.
not
You don't
sense.
even get the
Can't
joy
see
of
the
being by a
sun.
campfire.
Yeah, can't see the sun because it's so bad outside, but it's also 125 degrees. It's great.
it has been very strange. It's been like overcast and rainy, but also blasted hot. It's very, very strange weather. Anyway, enough about that. So let's finish up your thoughts about New World, and then we'll get into the Blizzard stuff. So
we also have this month. We also have Humankind is going to be rolling out on the 17th. Really looking forward to this one.
Okay.
It's definitely replacing Civ for me for the foreseeable future. I've been in several of the open devs now, and I can say that there's a live one going on right now. By the way, if you want to hop in, it's not great, but I'm really looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to seeing how things evolve, especially the modding community, because I think the game is really good, but it has a couple systems in it that I'm not a fan of at all. Like the artificial territory distribution is it's really hard for me to wrap my head around it. The city system too, like the city system is again very bizarre. You can have, in one of my playthroughs, I had my main city pre-hitting before hitting like AD, right? Before hitting AD, I had a city that not spammed, although there was a lot of spamming going on. It spanned literally 90% of the planet. I'm just saying that doesn't really make very much sense. Now, again, that's planet surface, okay? They're like I said, there is some weird oddities to the game, but I'm really enjoying it as far as the style, the interaction goes, and then how they put you into the game. I really enjoy that, so I've been very excited for it. I've been playing Civ for literally decades now, and I just don't want to have to deal with Gandhi again. I'm really tired of dealing with Gandhi and his nukes and just getting
nuked by Gandhi.
Yeah, getting nuked by Gandhi is not something that I no longer wish to have that experience. And I really like how they set it up. You play as you being the demigod immortal that's running the country, and you get to pick different countries for your country to slide into, and that's a really cool system. I like the system, and I like that how it sets it up so that you can have a big history, or you can just stick with one the whole way through, and get a whole bunch of extra points. So very cool, very interesting. I'm really, like I said, I'm really looking forward to that.
So was your world planet was it Coruscant or Cybasant? Thanks to Robin Green in the chat for that joke.
Yeah. Maybe I'll share that in the future. I'm definitely going to do a couple playthroughs, and I hope that they go over pretty well, because it's pretty darn cool. So yeah, on to New World.
Yes, New World. So we talked about what the heck is it showing me here? Where's the picture? Okay, there we go. There we go. So we talked about it last week. But yeah, just so to recap, there was a lot you liked about it. also a lot you're hoping that gets improved. Is that right?
Yeah, there's definitely room for the game to grow. Moon got into it on Saturday morning there.
Yeah, new build and
So
everything.
yeah, she started out really fresh. Like she'd watched me play it for just a little bit. She was like, "This looks interesting enough to jump in." And Moon, you're not an MMO player, just to like
Not really.
you've
I
really
usually
very
solo play.
you've really but like the genre. I think you've only gotten into like a handful of very lightly, right?
Yeah, no, I like tried dabbling a little bit here and there, but I never really connected with anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because like what was it? I tried jumping into WoW, but it was just way too tedious for me. Way too much traveling around. Whereas this is like more contained and it's got lots of interesting things. It actually reminded me a lot of like running around in Skyrim and just collecting things that I saw everywhere and being able to go wherever the heck I wanted. Like I even climbed a mountain by mistake, and then I was very, very carefully and terrifyingly jumping down the other side and got like a bunch of fall damage, but it was okay. No, it was really good. And yeah, no, it was
right,
nice
right on.
being able to meet up with Side like right away, because at first I was like, I have no idea where I am. And he's like, where are you? I was like, I think I'm around here on this map. And then he's like, oh, okay, I can come find you over there. And so like what, you were like 1,000 meters away or something like that?
Yeah,
And it didn't take that long at all.
Yeah, no, it's kind of funny. You spawned really ridiculously close to me. Now the world is really big, and it's going to get bigger. There's different like territories, and the territories are faction based. So like you, I think Kisuke when he popped on the first time, I was like 4,000 meters, so 4 kilometers away from him, and that took me almost an hour to get to him. I died once along the way. It was great. Accidentally wandered into a very high level zone and got killed very, very quickly.
So there's no fast traveling then, hey?
There is fast traveling, but you have to unlock so you have to go there first.
You have to go there, and then you can jump around.
Have to go there.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't on the last night I managed to hit 25. And I was really really wanted to get into one of the dungeons. The dungeons don't start until 25-ish or like you can get in there on 20-ish, but it's not recommended. And you need to follow a quest chain that I didn't really know about when I first started getting into the game, because I assumed that it was going to be total garbage, and I had no intention of sticking with the game. On my first 2 days playing the game, I was like, this is a train wreck. This is going to bomb terribly, mostly due to the servers. The servers were just absolutely unplayable. It was garbage. But after after a little bit, lo and behold, I was able to get things going. And or not me, sorry, the servers got things going. They managed to fix it on the third day, right before I was about to give up. So I actually missed trying to I actually missed out on getting the hey, it's Pringles.
Yeah, sorry
on following the main quest there for quite a while. So that was a little disappointing, but I kind of wish I'd gone on that sooner so that I could actually get into and play the dungeon. So yeah, that's so we're seeing the gameplay footage that we did on Saturday.
Just a little bit of Moon's stream on Saturday Morning Legion this past week on the main channel. By the way, if you're not subscribed over there, check out the main channel. Lots of awesome content there. Oh, get him, kill him. Good job.
Stole all the sacks.
That's our lovely Moon tag, by the way. She's not on camera on the podcast tonight, but you see her there on the footage. So yeah, I see what you mean as far as a Skyrim vibe. Like I do get a very, very Skyrim-ish vibe from it. But what are some of your other thoughts and impressions there, Moon, of this game? Like, what did you really enjoy about it? And what is it like? What we might have wanted from a multiplayer Skyrim?
Yeah, I think so, honestly, because it's like I would have liked a little bit more specifics with like the character creator, but like just being able to like swap between weapons and different play styles. And for the beta here, they had a free respec as well in case you want to like try out like different sort of skills, because like with each weapon that you get, you can level up your proficiency with each weapon type the more you use it, and you can get different kind of skills through different skill trees with each of them. And we also had joint experience when we partied up together, and like I got experience when he was like one smashing, one hit punching like the baddies, and then I was like off somewhere trying to catch up or like get distracted by picking up some herbs or whatever the case may be. But yeah, and it was pretty decent because it's like Saib was telling me, it's like in some other games, like when you try to party up and carry somebody who's like starting out, whereas you've been playing for a while, sometimes there's like little to no incentive for that. It's you actually operate at a deficit because like if you're like that far leveled up, helping somebody who's fresh, then it's like you're getting like maybe 1 point, 2 point, or you just get like weapon damage stuff, right? But this like it seemed pretty well balanced for what it was.
Okay. Are there any kinds of mounts or anything? Any way to travel faster? Like, can you get a horse or something?
No.
I didn't see any. No,
there's no mounts in the game, and there's no flying in the game. There's no there is fast travel. You basically think of the fast travel as like the word walls in Skyrim.
Okay.
And so they're spread out, you know, couple to each his own, and you can travel to them, but in this case it takes resources to do it. And the resources you gather up, and once I got to like 20, once I hit like level 15 to 20, I really didn't have very much issues with that. In fact, I was constantly capping out that currency.
Right.
And I could have fast traveled a significantly more, just to kind of hopping around and picking stuff up here and there that I needed. So yeah, there's excuse me. There's a lot of like the territories are massive.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
they really are. And some of the territories, they are most of the territories are fairly low level, but there's a group of about, I believe it's about 5 high level territories where running through there is basically like, I mean, you got enemies running at you that have got skulls on them, and they touch you and you just explode.
One of them got me.
One of them got you. Good view of Moon's character here. I like your anime hair.
Yes.
It seems very
Moon buns.
seems very lore appropriate. Yeah. No, very cool. Oh, you're like showing off your character, or are you just looking around? I'm just kind of skipping around. This is like 2 hours into your stream here. Who's the naked guy?
So armor is based off of.
Is that no? That's not.
Oh,
you.
that's that particular naked person. That's my main character.
This guy. Okay, yeah.
Armor is based off of weight.
You're looking fantastic in your lady's underwear and your helmet and gauntlets there.
I made my character match too.
It's a Roman mamilio.
Full range of movement.
Butchering that word. But so this is actually a great spot. So you see that there? I was rolling before. Now I'm just hopping.
Now you can't because you got all the armor pieces on.
Exactly. So before I was in my DPS set, which is basically nothing. It's gloves, boots, and helmet, because those are the lightest 3 pieces of armor. Your chest piece and your leggings are your heaviest piece of armor, just like in real life, and they bog you down more. So the more armor you wear, you go from light, medium to heavy, and all of that stuff gradually reduces your mobility. So lightly armored people have faster mobility and the ability to run and move faster than other people in heavier armor. So it's a game of, basically you're playing a game of like what is your, what's your trade-off, right? Higher damage for wearing light armor, heavier armor, you get more block defense, but you're not nearly as mobile, and you can definitely be ran down for quite quickly. So yeah, that's the kind of like that's the depth to the armor system in the game. Your weapon system runs off of a fairly similar setup, where your armor system is basically, your weapon system is derived of like you put on a weapon and you start to learn how to use that weapon. And this Moon has switched from what she was using originally as it was a spear. She's now using a life staff, so she's switched to a healer role. And you can mine almost anything, not the actual ground, but any boulder that you would classify as a boulder, and not like like base rock. Like you see the fortress is built on basically like an outcropping of rock. You can't mine those rocks, but you can mine boulders anywhere near that stuff. You find small rocks on the ground, you can pick it up. So it plays very much like Rust, and maybe a little bit kind of like any other survival like MMO type experience that you kind of like a Minecraft or whatnot. Again, you can't build tunnels, but you do shape the world around you. You can cut down whole forests. You can now they do grow back quite quickly, but I'm not sure how they're going to be changing or tweaking that going forward. There's definitely some areas that I walk in, and there were no trees when I first arrived there, and I was like, wow, there's no trees. Couple of 2 days later, I came back, and a lot of those people had moved out of that area, and there was a forest there, and I was like, wait, there was a forest here before? So it grew back, and by growing back, and yeah, it was before it was being farmed so quickly that you just didn't see the forest because all of the trees were cut down. But after those people kind of moved out of that area and kind of spread out on the map a little bit more, then the forest came back. And so that was a really interesting touch. And I was like, that's very cool. I'm kind of hoping that they can excel and grow on these things. So now one thing I wanted to get to is like me helping Moon, going back, I was level 20, 24, 23, I think, and me going back to help her kind of like farm out some area and do some quests. You would think that, you're level 25. Was there really a point to going back? Actually, there was, and it was very beneficial to me. So it was extremely beneficial to run back into the game, into the earlier section of the game, and help out a friend with crafting and whatnot. So the crafting is quite extensive. Everybody crafts. Everybody has access to all the crafting professions. There's like a large amount of them. I don't know if Moon swapped over to this screen here, but it was enormous amounts. So there's a lot of gathering professions, and then there's a lot of refining professions, and then there's actual crafting professions on top of that. So it's very in depth, and it's got room to change and tweak and kind of like roll itself out here. If you want to skip ahead a couple minutes, I think we'll get to the auction house part where she tries a couple different weapons out. So you might want to skip forward like 10, 15 minutes because this is just a lot of running around doing crafting. And the crafting feels like Skyrim. It legitimately feels like making stuff and getting experience and building things that are interesting and fun and unique, and it's kind of cool, and you get a wide variety of experience, which is really nice. So here we swapped to being the Pantsless Knights because we were we decided that, and I would really recommend this if you're playing the game. The first 20 levels, you do not need armor. Sell everything that you get aside from good weapons, and use your damage bonus and your light armor skills to really like just damage and pump out as much damage on mobs and enemies as you can. The first couple of levels are dangerous if you are a terrible PvPer. I mean, not a PvPer. Sorry. If you're a terrible PvE player. So if you can't figure out the attack patterns, it's very Dark Soulsy. So by Dark Soulsy, that means that, like Dark Souls is like, you don't need all the armor. The most important thing is like knowing how to dodge, knowing how to use your combos, knowing how to attack. There's lots of people that do like naked runs through Dark Souls, and that's because they can actually do it. It's actually something that can happen because you're not, if you're good enough at the game, you're not dying every 10 seconds. So
yeah, just dunk under the water to drink. There you go.
Yeah. She's actually collecting.
Collecting the water.
Yeah.
Well, the best, got to get the good stuff down at the bottom, right?
Yeah,
that's what you got to do.
Everybody knows that the cleaner water is down at the bottom of the
exactly.
I do not advise that you do this in real life. It is very, very, very terrible.
No, honestly, I mean, from the little bits I've seen, it looks really good. It does remind me of Skyrim quite a lot. I don't want to know how the weapons and shield are stuck to your character's back there, Moon, but right. however that works, that's I mean, good for you. Good on you. Figuring out how to, fight in your underwear, but I appreciate you keeping your ankles covered, because that would just be too much skin exposure.
Scandalous.
So anyway,
so
scandalous indeed. No, it does look really good. I mean, any final thoughts? We should wrap up here and get onto the Blizzard stuff. But Moon, any final anything else you want to say as someone who just jumped into this game a couple days ago?
Who wants to form a party of pantsless knights? Join us.
You heard it right here.
Yeah.
Join the Pantsless Knights with Moontag and Sybe. I mean, they're kind of a package deal. But yeah, I that's join Moontag's Pantsless Knights in New World. So, you gonna keep playing it when the full version comes out?
Yeah, I want to play some more. I want to get more outfits. I want to get maybe a different bikini. That would be nice.
There's actually different underwear you can.
I don't even know, but I hope it's an option.
The underwear changed based off of the skin tone, which I thought was like, it wasn't amazing, but it was kind of like, that's interesting. Didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's for the most part, it's like, yeah.
Robin suggests new merch, the Pantsless Knights new merch. That'd be funny.
Hilarious.
Moon, you've been too busy with that day job thing. Not enough artwork.
I know, right?
What else? Yeah. Oh, and Dustin Pease says, had a close friend that had to RMA a new graphics card because of the game killing GPUs. Yeah, there were reports going around about it bricking some of the high-end GPUs. The high-end ones, for some reason.
As a general reference, I feel that that most gamers should know, you should always check your FPS limit, and you should always set an FPS limit, because you don't want an FPS limit if you want to like nuke your computer. If you really want to nuke your computer, then run something without an FPS limit, and then just like accidentally leave your mouse dangling to the side where your character's spinning around and around and around and around like 100 times in a second. If you want to nuke your computer, that's a really great way to do it. They did have an uncapped FPS thing, and Nvidia and I think it was more than just them. There were a couple of graphics card very high end that didn't have a software thing telling them, hey, if you get up to like 300 degrees, shut yourself off, which is very common in most other graphics cards. Pretty much all the graphics cards that we have has that built into them, into their programming and whatnot, and also sometimes it's built into the actual chip. So I don't think this was the game's fault. I think this was the fault of the card suppliers, the people who made the cards, who didn't properly update their cards and put put driver updates to prevent that. And then you might be able to say, well, a little bit of it maybe was some of those very overzealous players who forgot that, again, if you are running a massive, very powerful game, the last thing you want to do is play it uncapped. Just like saying, all right, just go as hard as you can because it's time to party. It's like, it's the same thing that happens when you rev a vehicle at like 7,000 RPM for, 3 hours. The car will explode. It turns into an explosive device. It is not a good idea. Highly not recommended. Indeed. Do not do this.
All right, so set your FPS limits. Know your limits, people. Know your limits. That's just good advice in general. You are listening to the Augmented Reality Podcast, and sorry for the rough start today, but we are in good form now, and we appreciate everybody being here. And yeah, you're not supposed to say stuff like, oh, sorry for the rough start, but you know what? I don't care. This is a community show. It's for you. We try to do the best job we can with what we have available, and yeah, we have it at this late hour in North America to accommodate our audience over in Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, that area of the world. So yeah, if you're living over there and you want to share this with your friends and say, hey, check out this gaming podcast and the rest of our content, we would very much appreciate that. By the way, slam that like button if you haven't already, and if you think we deserve it. Really appreciate that. And we're going to get into the Blizzard top. Oh yeah, check out the Discord server, check out the merch. All links to everything are in the description below this video. And we have our main channel, the Triple S League, which is very different from this channel, and much larger than this channel, and we have very different content over there. This is our exclusive podcast live streaming channel. So yeah, we have 2 channels you can check out. So, breaking news today. J. Allen Brack, president of Blizzard, has stepped down. Or is stepping down. I don't know when he's actually out the door, but
he's essentially out the door as of today.
So this comes on the heels of, I mean, it's almost impossible to recap everything that's been happening with Blizzard, but it's really bad. They're being sued by the state of California. Now there's reports of other class action lawsuits happening. I don't know the details. Night Crew represent, yeah, ye old grognard. Word. So yeah, there's other class action lawsuits that are popping up. They're just allegations of not only things like pay discrepancies for women and things like that, of that nature, but of really bad sexual harassment in the company and management turning a blind eye and really, really, really bad stuff. Just really bad stuff. And it's going to court. They're going to figure out what exactly is true and what exactly has been happening there. But in the midst of all this, now J. Allen Brack's out the door, and they've replaced him with 2 individuals, Jen O'Neill and Mike Ibarra, and I've got some info on them here. So Jen O'Neill previously served as a longtime producer and studio lead of Vicarious Visions before moving to Blizzard to oversee the Overwatch and Diablo franchises in January 2021. So very recently. She's been there like 6 months, 7 months.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ibarra has been with Blizzard since 2019. He was with Xbox for 20 years, becoming corporate vice president of gaming in his time there, and heavily overseeing the Xbox Insider program before coming over to Blizzard in 2019. He became vice president and general manager of platform and technology, and was overseeing the improvement of Battle.net. So that's those, brief history of those 2 people that are replacing J. Allen Brack. Now, J. Allen Brack was with Blizzard since 2006, I think. I looked it up earlier, somewhere around there. So he was with the company for a long time. Now, when did the Activision buyout happen, Saib? It's
I was
2010.
going over this today. It was I want to say 2014 or 2012, but it might be 2010.
Anyway, Brack's been with the company since before they were purchased by Activision, and these new folks have not, and in fact, have not been with the company very long at all. Now, they've been in the industry for a very long time, and have been. Ibarra was with Xbox. Now, I haven't heard of the Vicarious Visions, the studio that O'Neill was with. But anyway, yeah, they're studio veterans, or industry veterans, I should say. But you said to me earlier, Cy, when we put this on the thumbnail and the title today, that old Blizzard is just basically gone now. It's all Activision. So
yeah, with the exception of one person who's new. So they brought a guy back who helped found Blizzard, but he left the company. I believe it's 12 years ago.
12 years ago.
But they brought him back to help lead something now. A lot of this stuff is literally this was announced. I didn't hear about it until I was listening to the financial call that literally finished less than 2 hours after before we started. So that perked up my ears significantly because I wasn't expecting that. And I can't even remember his name now because I completely forgot. But he's moving in there. I was gonna say it was Alan or I believe it starts with an A something, but it's not J. Allen Brack, of course. It's a different guy. Yeah, so it's quite all over the place. That may or may not be a good thing. I really don't know. I have no idea if that's a good thing or not. I really don't know if the new direction's good. We will have to wait and see. I would definitely say that there's still quite a few more people that they need to fire and get rid of. Key amongst them being probably the head boy there. And that can only really be done by a unified board that has the backing of a majority shareholder of the people who hold shares in the company. And last time this happened, he survived with only 4% because they were very unhappy with his performance. A lot of people in the company are very unhappy with his performance. He is you could say he's a go-getter, but a lot of these big corporations, especially when they have a king size helping of the market that they're in, I mean, you'd have to be a hyperactive dog to not find success. A lot of this stuff just runs itself, and I mean it runs itself poorly, but it will literally run itself. CEOs are not necessarily something that actually is needed, and there's a lot of times where everything is just running smoothly just because it's a self-propelling industry, especially video games. If you make video games, people tend to play them. And if you make some of the best video games and then you just don't screw it up, again, you just have natural growth there. If you really screw things up and you constantly cause problems, well, then you lose more and more and more and more and more of the player base, which Blizzard has been doing for the last, since they got bought out by Activision. They have been, every year, they've been bleeding users. And it's getting to the point now where, again, yeah, their profits are going up, but those profits are only going up because they are literally bleeding out their users at a ridiculous rate, at a really, truly ridiculous rate. It's ridiculous how much they are spending. I mean, it is frightful how much they're forcing players out of their game. I mean, you got Preach left is refusing to do any more content. A whole bunch of gamers are like walking out, and content creators are walking out. These should be scaring the pants off basically any and every single person who has money in this company.
Well,
But for some reason,
I think
there's
it
a bunch
is.
of people. Well, I mean, it is now because there's a lot of pushback on this now, but it's like where were you guys like 5-10 years ago when this was getting there? It's like you were, and again, it's what happens normally, and what happens normally is that people are only interested in the immediate bottom line.
Well, and I think that as long as the money's flowing, I imagine a lot of the investors are not all that paying all that much attention to actually what's going on in the company. A lot of them probably aren't even gamers, and they don't know or care if World of Warcraft is doing okay. If the latest expansion is well received by the player base, a lot of them probably don't care about that, but they do care about the bottom line. And I mean, the whispers of class action lawsuits that I've heard are sort of centering around investors in the company. So again, don't know a ton of details about that. Just been trying to collect what information I could today. Now, there's I watched Asmongold's take, and he had a lot to say about this guy Ibarra, because Ibarra is actually
This is the good news portion of the show.
Now, so this could be really good for WoW, because Mike Ibarra is really into the game and
he's
plays
a staunch player, has been for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Typically gets his keystone achievement within weeks of the new updates, which is something that I very rarely ever did, because the mythic scene was just not something I was interested in. Never really has been. I've gotten the head of the curve achievement on like 4 of the last 5 bosses. So again, different strokes for different folks, but this is a good sign, because it means this is somebody who's actively interested and actively plays the game, and plays it at a level that most people don't. So they understand more of the issues. Like if you're a top rated PvPer, if you're pushing mythic content for raids, or if you're pushing plus for dungeons, you know something about the community of the game. You know a lot more than the average player does when it comes to the primary issues of the game. Now, not saying that you have a better viewpoint on it, just that you have more access to more information at levels that the average player who doesn't engage in any of those things has. That's not to say that their opinion is better or stronger. It's just your access to information is a lot higher, because you're doing highly rated stuff. You're aware of the problems that are plaguing the top 1% of the players in the community, and those issues then those issues roll downhill and affect players that are playing the game at not that crazy high level, in depth, intense, just banking tons and tons of hours into that every week. They have, that affects them, and it really does, because and the best example is professional sports. It's like, would basketball be the thing that it is right now if there were no professional level basketball teams at all? If there were no college basketball teams? If there were neither of those things, and there was nobody that people looked to and said, wow, that's the greatest basketball player in the world. If there were none of those people, would the game be that? Would it have the cultural sensation that it does right now? And I would say very clearly, no. You have to have people pushing the top 1% of the echelon of a skill in order to have an icon that people look up to and associate with that skill and say, that person's really good at what they do. And I've seen this work. In we got the Olympus going on right now. The more you meet And the cooler and the more interesting those people that win those gold medals are, the more interesting those people are. When they show up, they have an effect on that sport. They have a positive effect on sports in general. So again, I'm really not saying that people who don't play at high level sports don't impact the game. They do, and we've seen this year more than anything, both in the professional sports leagues as well as in video gaming. When you crush the people who are good at your game, when you don't treat the esports people with a level of professionalism, when you don't engage with the community on the important things that's happening, your community retracts. And again, it's not just about the 1%. It's typically about it's a bunch of different effects happening all at once. But the treating people poorly doesn't age well. It just doesn't. The majority of WoW fans enjoy Asmongold. When you have a developer call Asmongold an asshole, a lot of people get a negative experience from that. Why are you saying this? That's really rude. This person's somebody I look up to. This kind of stuff. And so when you have that happening, and it's not just happening once, it's happening over and over and over again, starting with a Blitzchung who speaks out against something that's terrible happening to the people that he lives with on a daily basis, and he's calling out for help in the community, in the professional community, when he's sitting there begging for help, and you got some wad who doesn't understand the finer points of what's going on. Sure, you can have a debate about what's going on, but it's like when you just blow past that and say, I don't care. Don't you have to listen to me while I spout my BS, but I don't spend any time listening to you. And it's a total level of hypocrisy when that happens over and over and over and over again, from the Reforged Warcraft 3 debacle to all this other stuff. The players are being treated and have this sense of they don't care about us. They don't care about the people that's high up in their community playing the game, and they don't care about the people in the that just play it super casually. Not to say that they play it poorly. Some of the best WoW players, in my humble opinion, are some of the role players. I have spent my entire WoW career on role-playing servers, and I've got to say that they're really nice people. There's a lot of really great people, and they're not good at the game, but that does not mean that they're not, invested in it. In some cases, I think they're invested in it more than people who are, in those world-leading raid guilds or PvP competitions, stuff like that. It's because they have a heart for the game, and a lot of those people have been getting sick of the Blizzard just in general. Because again, this is more than just WoW. This is the Diablo 2, the remake, Diablo 4, Diablo Immortals. This is the debacle that is their esports scene, where it's like, well, if it doesn't make money in the first 2 years, we're just gonna turn the table up on it. It has to do with the employees being let go, and then them saying, hey, this is our best financial year ever. Too bad we can't pay our employees more money. Oh, isn't that a shame? And it's this disgusting level of like just real stupidity. Really, really, really is just stupidity.
It's really interesting because in the gaming space, I have found myself starting to care a lot more about the people who make the games that I play than about the people that say make the movies that I watch, or et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know where the disconnect is there, but when I'm really enjoying a game, I really want to know that the people who made that game got paid well for it, because I know they work really hard, and that the companies are treating them well. And you see stuff that, like this garbage coming out of Blizzard. I haven't been a player of very many Blizzard games. Played Hearthstone for a while, but it does not make me want to give Blizzard a second look.
Yeah.
Ad comes out for a new Blizzard game, I'm like, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, skip, right?
Skip,
right?
exactly.
Like it's
Sometimes
if
I let
I
it
see-
if it's a, I mean if the YouTuber if the YouTuber I'm watching is someone I really like, then I'll let the ad play so they get the ad revenue. But but yeah, I don't.
By the way, we really appreciate when you guys
We appreciate those of you who do that. Yeah, but bottom line, I care about it. And so yeah, when there's chaos in the company, and I realize not everyone is as deeply invested in the news and what's going on at these gaming companies as I am, just because they, this is part of my job. But they, when there's chaos going on at the companies, and I hear that their employees are not being treated well, when you hear that they're having to crunch and aren't being paid very well or whatever, that's an area of concern for me. And then also when you see like what's going on at CD Projekt Red, where the game came out in a disastrous state, and then employees, including management level employees, are jumping ship left and right. It's like, well, this is not a good sign. This is not good. And then you see Blizzard's employees doing a walkout like this. Like so I mean, my anger toward Blizzard is, of course, at the top levels. And, I want to see the people that are actually making these games, who got into this because, it's an area they're passionate about. They just want to go to work, make a good game, and make enough money from it, right? And yeah, Activision Blizzard can afford to fucking pay them more than what they pay them. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. You look at just how atrociously overpaid the CEO of this company is. It's sickening.
And what's the worst thing about that is that guy couldn't tell you any of the issues in any of the games that people are bringing forward.
No, but
he couldn't even tell you the basic details about the game. I say, hey, Bobby, what's the main tanking classes in the game? What's the main healing classes in the game? Like, hey, is there a ninja in your game? Is there a ninja character in Warcraft? Is there a bard in Diablo? He couldn't answer that. I'm assuming he can't.
His answer is probably going to be, "What's a Diablo?"
Yeah.
What's it?
Right?
World of Craft War? What?
And again, like I heard some people defending Bobby. He goes, well, he's really driven up the price, on the stock. It's like, again, a dog could do that.
Well, that's why sure. I mean, but that's why he's in the position. That's why he's probably not going anywhere. And the majority of his involvement in the response to all of these allegations was to just put his name on the bottom of a very of just a response full of corporate drivel that was probably written by one of his secretaries. And he was just like, oh yeah, say something that makes it look like we care and tries to make us look better. I'll call you back after the 18th hole here.
Make sure you make the bullet points extra big so people can see what we're doing.
Make the bullet points bigger, yes. The bullet points bigger than the rest of the text. Yeah. It's absurd. And I'm not surprised. It's not like I was cheering or hoping for Brack to get fired. Honestly, I don't know the guy or how good he is at his job. I know he's been the figurehead, and so he takes a lot of the, his face is on things like the Blitzchung situation. But
he said when people were asking and begging for people to bring back Classic WoW in a respectful manner, he was the guy who said, yeah, you think you do, but you don't. No, turns out people really did.
He was that guy. Okay.
Yeah, he was that guy. He was that dunderhead of a
yeah.
He was that brilliant person who said a bunch of things that you would normally laugh very hard at and be like, you're really not bright, are you?
Yeah. So
I'm trying to use my words nicely, but it's like,
yeah, he's out. Will these two new co-leaders be any better?
that is the question. I would say don't get your hopes up, because this company has a lot to prove. They have a long way to go before they have a long way to go before they should get any of your business ever again.
That is and apparently this I found just incredibly tone deaf. Brack said his successors can be trusted to lead with the highest levels of integrity and commitment to the components of our culture that make Blizzard so special.
Which is none right now.
That's first of all, A, that's none. B, what's making Blizzard special right now is not something you want to be talking up. It's special for all the wrong reasons right now. But C, are we really going to with what's been going on, and let's give Brack the absolute maximum level of benefit of the doubt and say maybe he just was unaware of all this stuff that was going on.
I think he was. I think really, he had no. He just didn't have a handle on things.
Sure, but I mean, like I'm saying, let's give him. I'm not saying this is the case. I'm sure he knew what was going on. I'm absolutely 100% sure. But let's give him the maximum benefit of the doubt and say, okay, he was just so busy with his job that he just wasn't paying attention to what was going on around him. How are we? The fact is, it was going on. So how can we? I really don't. There's no way we can trust your judgment, Brack, on someone's level of integrity that works at your company. Let's just put it that way. Now, I'm sure that the vast majority of the employees that work there are good people, and aren't involved in all this crap. I mean, a lot of them were, of course, subject to certain types of abuse if the allegations are true. And I'm not doubting that they're true, but I'm just putting that caveat on it because they're allegations at this point that need to be proven in court. But it sounds like most of the problems were at the management level, and you can't have things like that happening at the management level without the higher management level knowing about it. Like, we're not talking about some low-level employee doing something, in the broom closet that just gets swept under the rug. We're talking about managers of the company at high-profile events, and things are happening that are just completely unacceptable. So I don't give JL and Brack that level of benefit of the doubt. So maybe having him out is the right thing, and it's certainly not a surprising thing from where I sit. But bottom line, yes, the company has a long way to go. I agree with you, Saib. A lot. I mean, it would be great if Blizzard could come out of this with all of the bad apples just ejected and go back to what they were before. Grow themselves into a company that is well respected in the industry and well respected by the people that play their games. But what's the problem? They're still owned by Activision.
Yeah.
And Jason Schreier pointed this out. Until 2018, Mike Morhaime was the CEO of Blizzard. When Brack took over, he was the president. Now O'Neill and Ibarra are described as co-leaders. A clear glimpse at who's really in charge. It's Bobby Kotick. It's all Activision. Just bringing it full circle. Ship of Theseus. You swap out every bit of Blizzard with... Well, it's not the Ship of Theseus problem, because it's just a case of, an amoeba getting absorbed by a larger amoeba and digested, and it all becomes the larger amoeba, right? By the way, it was 2013 that the buyout happened, where they purchased all the shares from Vivendi. Just looked that up while we were live here. So, yeah, I mean, we'll be keeping our eye on any further updates about all of this, but I have a feeling this is going to be ongoing for quite a while, and we are, we're not going to spend every podcast talking about it, but things are just dropping like crazy right now, so of course we have to cover it, but we're going to try to keep our eye on what's good, what's more positive in the gaming space. New World looking good. Other, the other games we talked about earlier that are looking really good, Humankind, and of course Baldur's Gate 3, which I've just been absolutely loving. Now that my other major project is done, I've been pouring a lot more time into Baldur's Gate 3. But and of course, if you see any other games you want to see us cover on the Triple S League, definitely let us know on the Discord server, and we will do our best. And even if we don't cover them on the channel, you can probably find people to talk about them with, and just talk about the games you love. We can create new rooms on the Discord server. If there's a game that's really popular, we'll often create a dedicated room for it. So check it out if you're not part of the Discord server. Check it out. You can find the link in the description below. Yield Grognard asks, is Baldur's Gate 3 close to release? No. It's...
well, I mean, some caveats with that statement. So, it's closer to release today than it was yesterday.
It's ever getting closer, of course. Yeah.
They are putting out the next patch. Has been reported by a reliable source that the next patch is coming out sooner than we expect, and sooner than we think, and sooner than what you would have assumed if you're kind of tracking their release schedule as is. So we know that things are speeding along, and that they're having more and more success every single day, and that they are doing more and more things every single day to make the game good, to make the game great, to keep pulling in the things that people are requesting. They have been doing a phenomenal phenomenal job working closely with these people that have been playing the game in alpha, and giving them feedback and giving them responses, and interjecting what they think they want, what they believe is good, that kind of stuff for the game. So there's a ton of that, an absolute ton of that, and it's been going over very, very well. So Baldur's Gate is still a ways away from a full release.
Larian is saying 2022.
Yeah, but it's doing really, really well, I would say.
And I've been impressed. I have been impressed for an early access game. Yes, I have encountered some bugs and glitches and just little quirks, things that just are, a weapon not sitting right in the character's hand, that kind of thing. There's these little things that obviously they're going to get ironed out. But interestingly, not too much of that. And usually I just don't even notice, because the game is just beautiful. The cinematics and cutscenes are really well done. The acting's really good. I've been very, very impressed. And where was I going with that? Oh yeah, the area, this chapter 1 area, that it is a lot bigger than I was expecting. Honestly, like it's I'm hours and hours in, and I haven't explored the whole map yet. So, I've been impressed. So I think if you're a fan of this type of game, if you're excited to play it, you probably won't be disappointed jumping into the early access, if this is the kind of game that you want. But it is not a complete game. So you got to go into it with that mindset. You got to go into it understanding that this is specifically for those who want to get in early, are okay with, a product that's not finished yet, that can change over time, and that want to give feedback. Those are the reasons to get into it right now. So, but it has been a lot of fun. So yeah, weigh it carefully, I think, before jumping into early access. As with any early access game, you want to weigh it carefully. But this is a truly positive early access experience, unlike some garbage that we've.
They are writing the book. 100%. They're writing the
Yep.
book on how you are supposed to do an early beta release,
Yep.
paid beta release. They are writing the book on this. This is exactly what we have needed for so long. Is for a company to do this right. From the get-go, do it right, do it good, and don't screw people over. And don't let them down either. Just the immense amount of disappointment we've had in several recent releases has been just like, it's been stark, it's been depressing.
Yep.
It's legitimately depressing. I am legitimately I'm having issues, man. It's been a really, really crappy past few years in gaming, and it really boils down to people who don't know how to do their job. I have to say it. They just don't know how to do their job. They don't know how to scan things. They don't know how to read things. I give them information and they stand there like idiots going, gee, I don't think that's how this works. Like, no, trust me, this is how it works. Well, you know what? We're gonna try our own thing, and we're gonna knock the socks off you. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're just going to be a disappointment. Please look at the data. Look at the data. It's data. Data doesn't lie. You know, you either apply it incorrectly or you calculate it wrong, but it doesn't lie.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't cheat you. It doesn't stab you in the back and go, ha, you weren't expect. Read it well, understand it, and then you'll be surprised at how far you can go with that. I mean, again, it's an amazing concept to actually, spend time, doing stuff.
For sure. Do you, sorry, this question, I had this question earlier when we were looking at the New World stuff. Do you think they're going to, or is there already a cash shop, or is that something that's going to happen, do you think?
In New World, yes, there is a cash shop in there right now. They had thrown some stuff on the cash shop, and the alpha players revolted, and they said, okay, we're not putting this. We hear you loud and clear. We're not putting this in. And again, in a lot of these cases, that somebody doing that, I don't want to be conspiratorial. I really don't. But every once in a while, you got to look at what's going on. You got to look at who's doing what. You got to look at who's making what suggestion for what direction, for what things are turned on by accident, air quotes. Then suddenly you're like, oh wow, look, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
And somebody's getting called into an office somewhere going, how did this happen? What did you do? Why are we having this discussion right now? And their reaction to this is, well, I mean, you got two choices now. You can either stop doing this or you can try something else. Barring the fact that, many people have tried many times before and they have all failed miserably.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like I said, sometimes you just got to watch real close. Keep a real close eye on what's going on and yeah, look a little deeper because things are often a little bit more interesting than you first expect it to be.
Right. You're being very cryptic, but that's okay.
I know. I don't know what other way. Like, I'm too tired, but B, it's like I have to say this stuff. Sometimes I have to say this stuff very, very carefully.
Yeah, understandable.
We have lost good YouTubers and content creators to people with filthy minds.
So, one final thing before we wrap up, and this I'm just throwing this out there just because it's been on my mind as I've been playing through Baldur's Gate 3. Do you feel like the weapon system has been watered down a little bit? Like it's very deep RPG wise, but I just, looking back to Baldur's Gate 2, it felt like there were more weapons than I knew what to do with, more different types of weapons. And now it seems like, every short sword is the same, every staff is the same, except for, you do get the magically enhanced ones. Is this something they've deliberately watered down? Is it something they're still working on? Is it going to, is there going to be more variety? Or
there are lots of people who bring this up as an argument for the sake of, like, having more depth as far as magical weapons and magical gear goes. There are some armors. I think there's one set of armor in the game that is absolutely pointless. It doesn't do you any benefit whatsoever. It is only a detriment from the armor that is immediately to its left and right on the scale of, like, armor. So yeah, what that question is answerable in the sense of you definitely have not played the game nearly enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, potentially, and as Sunglare points out, I've only seen levels 1 to 4. That is true.
I really regret not rolling our game when you and I played it together. I really regret not using my character, because I had saved it right at the point where in the tutorial level I got the flaming two-handed sword that is I think it's called Neverburn.
Yeah.
Everflame. It's called Everflame or something like that. It's this awesome sword. I wanted to do a video on it. I just have not had time. And it's a weapon that you got. They added in the last patch. You kill the commanding devil, and he drops a little something. Mm-hmm. And then you can walk through that, and that weapon can show up. There's a lot of weapons. You have to know how to do them and how to get them right. And they're I mean, again, you're not going to be handed the flaming +5 sword of I can't remember her name, the demoness or former demoness lady thingy. It's like you're not going to be handed that early on.
Oh, for sure. Granted, it did.
There are weapons in the game that people have built specs that just one-shot everything. So the answer to your question is you haven't played enough. Well, you're not finding the weapons or realizing the importance of some of them.
I've got some unique weapons and magical weapons. I'm just saying, in terms of the overall variety of the more ordinary weapons, feels like it's less than what I was expecting, is what I'm saying. And I'm not. It's not a complaint or a criticism. I'm just wondering if it's been. And like another thing I noticed is that there's no ammo limit. You don't actually have to find arrows if you are a ranged character.
Again, this is something that I mean in New World, you have to carry around enough ammo for you to do your thing. So there are people that are literally walking around with 100 pounds of arrows in their bags because they have to.
Yeah.
There are those kinds of games, and that is a homebrew rule that a lot of GMs add to their games. And that may definitely be something that is added to the GM picks of choices. Once they bring out the GM multiplayer, so the multiplayer that you play with a group of friends and an actual GM actually hosts it for you instead of playing through the campaign, that is coming, and that will have some homebrew options immediately in the system, I would assume, but you just wait a couple of weeks and there'll be more mods than you shake a stick at calculating all of that stuff. It's a homebrew option. Just right now in the general 5 E rules, it's just assumed that if you're an archer, you know not to leave your house without your enough ammo to blast you through a big long thing, right? Like that's something that you just instinctively carry with you. It's like the whole gold thing. It's like, no, you're not actually holding 20,000 pieces of gold right now in your pocket at this moment. It's obviously just a credit slip for a bank, because 20,000 pieces of gold is extremely heavy.
It is, and it's interesting that the gold actually does have weight in the game. But
yeah, and again,
but
like
it
said,
is,
a
and
lot of
it's
these are homebrew rules, and
honestly, it's kind of nice to not have to worry about how many arrows I have. It's kind of nice to not have to worry. There's already so much to manage, all the spell slots and all the different things, and managing, your magic. And I like that you have to have supplies in order to do a full rest at your camp. Although I have had no shortage of supplies. Like, I've got supplies for weeks. It's
you think that, but again, I would ask, are you sure you're resting enough? Have you discovered all of the scenes that you should be discovering by going back to your camp every day?
I've done plenty of rests, and I just have I still have I've got at least a dozen of those full the camp kits or whatever they're called that just have the 40 camp supplies that's everything you need in them, and plus just I pick up every scrap of food I can find and just send it to my camp, and so
I've been playing.
It's always there.
I was playing War Tales. Sorry, let me make sure I'm quoting this name correctly. It's a very interesting game. It's a very indie game. Yeah, War Tales. So not War Tale, but War Tales. I think there's a game called War Tale. But War Tales has a very similar camping system. You have to bring enough food, and when you don't bring enough food and you go without food for multiple days in a row, people start turning to cannibalism. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Well, I don't think,
So-
although there is that scene with Astarion, but otherwise nobody's tried to take a bite out of me.
It's one of those things where it's like yes, I don't think you're going to run into those issues now, but it'll be interesting to see, the reactions when people do run into the situations where they're like, oh man, I really need this rest. I did not expect that big giant dragon to come out of the sky just there. Immediately after having to deal with that big ambush of spiders, and oh my goodness, whatever shall we do? All right, let's make camp. All right, how much food we got left over? None. What do you mean none? We're like 5 days out from a town. We're in the middle of a poison swamp. What are we gonna do? It's like trust me, like that's built into the game, and that is that more of that tabletop experience. I think you're looking for rather than the automated story.
We'll have to see. Plus also, when it's out of early access, I imagine a lot of this will get rebalanced.
Yeah.
It's been anyway. No, it's been interesting, and I'm looking forward to the game changing over time, and so doing another replay, but having to change up my strategy a bit, and not just from using a different class or something, but because the game itself has changed.
Yeah. And it's the change that's been happening is good for the most part. I think it's been going really great.
Mm-hmm.
Want to see more. Can't wait to see more.
All right.
The next big expansion is coming out sometime. I think it's coming out before Halloween. So keep your eyes on that.
Ooh, be cool if they did something Halloween themed.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
All right, we should wrap up. You got some bonus time from us today, all of those who are listening, listening live. Really appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much. And we encourage you to join us again next week, right here for the Augmented Reality Podcast. As well, check out our main channel for lots of other types of content, including our Saturday morning live stream that we do every week, Saturday Morning Legion. Kind of a variety show. We do lots of different stuff, game streaming, talking about news, live artwork often, with Moontag doing live artwork. It's a good time, plus lots of comedy, guides, all kinds of things on that channel there as well. So, check it out, the Triple S League. You can find links to that in the description below. Please do slam that like button if you haven't already, and subscribe. That tells YouTube that you appreciate this channel and this content. Thank you to our patrons. You've seen their names appearing on the screen, at the top of the screen throughout the show. We really appreciate you all very much. Our patrons, channel members, and our Twitch subscribers. And with that, we'll wrap up. So thank you so much again for listening live. If you're listening after the fact, do leave some comments down below. This is Ash on behalf of Sybe and Moontag. We really appreciate you being here, and we will talk to you again very soon.